NOBO, SOBO, or flip-flop? Which way do we go? Hey YouTube, my name is Todd and you are watching my channel, Hiking a Different Path. This channel is all about my planning, preparation, and eventual thru-hike attempt of the AT in 2021. Now, if you're interested in or thinking about doing a long distance hike like the Appalachian Trail, then you're in the right place. You'll want to be sure and subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you get notified when new content is uploaded. So when you start thinking in earnest about doing a thru-hike, well, which way you go is a thing. Do you go NOBO or northbound from Springer to Katahdin, or do you go SOBO or southbound from Katahdin to Springer, or some sort of flip-flop? There are some definite advantages and disadvantages to each method. The truth is, you've got choices, lots of them. That's kind of part of the fun of the planning process, is that you can literally do this thing any way you want. So what are the main most used methods for doing this, and what are the advantages and the disadvantages of each? Now, keep in mind, some of these advantages and disadvantages, well, they're my personal opinions. What do you see as advantages? Disadvantages? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how you're looking at this. So, first off is NOBO, or northbound. Now, based on data from the ATC, that's the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, this is the most used option of all the thru-hike attempt methods. You start at Springer Mountain in Georgia and hike north-ish to the summit of Mount Katahdin in Maine. Now, you can start a NOBO thru-hike attempt generally from early to mid-February to as late as April, all based on your perceived hiking speed, fitness, weather, personal itinerary, and keeping in mind that you have to summit Katahdin before they close the park and the mountain, usually in late October, again, depending on the weather. The advantage I see in this method is time. Lots more of it if you need it. By starting earlier, you give yourself anywhere from 5 to 8 months to complete the thru-hike. You got to remember that old hiking term of HYOH, or hike your own hike. This isn't a race, or at least it shouldn't be, and you don't need to let someone else's judgments push you to do something that sucks the fun out of this thing or could cause you to hurt yourself in the process. Another advantage I see is more of a personal preference. You see, I live in the South. It's hot and humid in the South. All these decades later, I'm still not a fan of the heat or the humidity. I prefer cooler temps for hiking and camping. Anyway, so an early start in February means, well, ideally, that I'll have cooler temps longer over the course of the attempt. And oh, make no mistake, summer will overtake me with a vengeance at some point, and it will be hot and humid on the trail. As my daughter would tell you, suck it up, buttercup, get her done. This same point may be a disadvantage for some. Cooler or cold temps are not their bag, and so they'll start later or just choose a totally different option anyway. Another disadvantage could be the number of people on the trail attempting a northbound thru-hike. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do like people, but too much of a good thing. Who am I fooling? A person is fine, but large groups of people, man, they're crazy. Pack mentalities aren't always a good thing. The truth is that of all the persons who attempt a NOBO thru-hike of the AT, on average, 25 to 30% won't even make it to the border of Georgia and Tennessee before they bail out and end their attempt. Hey, it happens. Next is a SOBO, or southbound. Based on data from the ATC, this is the second most used option of all thru-hike attempt methods. You start at the summit of Mount Katahdin in Maine, and you hike south-ish to the summit of Springer Mountain in Georgia. Most folks will start a Sobo thru-hike attempt generally from mid-April to late June, early July. Again, based on your perceived hiking speed, fitness, the weather, and personal itinerary. And in this case, they don't usually close Springer Mountain at any particular point in the season. In truth, we do have a winter in the south. It's a really small window around January into February, maybe 4 or 5 weeks worth. Don't hate me because I'm warm. The advantage here is that you get to start later without having a hard deadline to beat at the end, per se. This works better if you're trying to get a larger portion of the trail or the whole thing completed while, say, off for summer break or vacation. This also could be viewed as a disadvantage to me. That's a really short timeline, and I know I can't manage that. I mean, seriously, look at me. This is not the body of a world-class athlete or a 20-something. Also, you'll be starting the trail with some of the most challenging terrain and sections. Don't misunderstand, the approach trail at Springer is no walk in the park, and there's a reason people give up before getting out of Georgia, but Katahdin itself, plus the 100-mile wilderness and the whites, that's a big pill to swallow from the jump. Just my opinion. Certainly, it can be done. It's just not my first choice. Then there's the flip-flop. Now, you can look at this in a couple of different ways. There's the summit to midpoint approach, and then there's the midpoint to summit and midpoint to summit. So where would the midpoint be? Advantage. It can be anywhere along the AT. A common one for use would be Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Now, this is not the geographical midpoint as much as it's the emotional midpoint of the AT. Here you'll find the offices of the ATC, or Appalachian Trail Conservancy. Hikers going through this area tend to stop. They have an official photo taken. They sign the registry there. This is all part of their opportunity to register their hike officially with the ATC. Another advantage is that you pick the summits. This can be based on time, the season, or just personal preference. Springer to Harpers Ferry, then jump up to Maine and do Katahdin to Harpers Ferry. Start later and do Katahdin to Harpers Ferry, then go down to Springer and hike north to Harpers Ferry. Or start in Harpers Ferry and go to either peak from the midpoint. Choices are yours. One disadvantage to me is the issue of travel. The logistics can get a little busy and expensive. There's a lot of flexibility, but at the end of the day, you still have to travel significant distances to get to summits or to midpoints and use this method. Now, I'm slow, but I'm also cheap. And I was told once my last name was a Yiddish derivative. Seriously, showed it to me in a book and everything. Now, of course, this is not an exhaustive list of options, advantages, or disadvantages. I'm sure you can tell me more. Those are simply just the most used methods. So which option will I choose for my attempt in 2021? Well, probably it's going to be a NOBO. The ability to start early, stay in cooler temps longer, plus the ridiculous amount of time I afford myself to get the attempt completed in, well, that's just too much for me to try this any other way. Will I change my mind? Well, anything is possible. You can't never always sometimes tell. Plans change, finances change, whatever. You know, gotta stay flexible. Go with the flow, take it as it comes. So if you're planning a through hike of a long distance trail, which way are you gonna go and why? I'm interested in where your head's at on this one. Help me think outside the box and maybe, just maybe, you'll change my mind on this point. And until next Monday, take a hike and love somebody along the way. Take a hike, love. Oh, geez, why did I write that? Good Lord, that was dumb. Why would I change up that tagline?